Dad, can I come upstairs now?
Butterscotch has easily become one of the most popular characters in South Park, and though a favorite among fans, Butters has garnered a mixed reaction from his fellow townsfolk, with some treating him like absolute garbage, and others being much friendlier to him. So we knew we had to give Butters his very own video. I'm Kyle with Wicked Binge, and these are Butters' relationships, healthy to toxic. The gold medal has to go to Butters' relationship with Kenny. This isn't one of the most prominent friendships in South Park, but from what little we see, it definitely ranks as one of the healthiest. Butters and Kenny are considered to be two of the most moral kids in South Park, but for two very different reasons. Butters is extremely sweet, but too naive for his own good, while Kenny has a very dirty mouth, but has demonstrated massive amounts of heroism on many occasions. Despite their differences, the overwhelming good qualities of these characters really comes out when they're paired together. Many characters pick on Butters and Kenny, the former for being quote lame, and the latter for being poor. But Butters and Kenny never mock each other despite the social pressure from other kids. Butters' ultimate appreciation for his friend is shown in the episode Going Native, where he claims Kenny is the most mature and likable kid in his class.
He's the only kid at school I actually like, you bunch of jerks!
Particularly when Kenny is addicted to cat pee. Kenny returns these gestures by accompanying Butters to Hawaii, knowing the journey would be a lot easier for him if he was with someone who he really trusts. Butters doesn't even show any anger towards Kenny when the poor kid accidentally hits him in the eye with a ninja star. If that's not a sign of a very forgiving friendship, we don't know what is. Speaking of forgiveness, let's take a trip to church and award the silver medal to Butters' relationship with Father Maxi. In a day and age where Catholic priests are ridiculed on a regular basis, Butters is able to relate to Father Maxi, having been made fun of repeatedly by his own classmates. From here, Butters develops a genuine friendship with his priest and invites him out with his friends.
Praise the Lord, for the Lord is good.
This goes poorly as the other kids are annoyed by Maxi's preaching, and every adult sees Maxi hanging out with kids as high comedy. Father Maxi then leaves Butters but realizes his mistake and saves the day when Butters, Stan, and Clyde are captured by the Catholic cleanup crew. This friendship is a really great representation of Butters and Father Maxi bringing out the best in each other, even if no one else takes them seriously. Now for something a little less holy. The bronze medal is awarded to Butters' relationship with Sally Darson. You know what I'm saying? Sally appears in the titular role of the episode Butters' Bottom Bitch, where Butters pays her to give him his first kiss. When this inspires Butters to start his own kissing company, he assigns Sally the role of his bottom B, giving her seniority over the other kissers. While Butters and Sally are far too young to comprehend the full implications of this, they do admittedly work well together, creating a company that's very successful. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know what you were saying. You don't have to keep asking.
Sally is very supportive of Butters throughout this journey, earning his loyalty and deserving it, even though Butters' business got out of hand. One thing we can say for sure is that he sure knows how to treat his bottom well. From right-hand prostitute to right-hand supervillain, Butters' relationship with Dougie is up next. Butters and Dougie debuted together in the episode Two Naked Guys in a Hot Tub, where they're seen playing in the basement with Pip and Stan. Butters slowly worked his way into the main cast after this until Stan, Kyle, and Cartman fired him for being lame. This caused Butters to create his evil persona of Professor Chaos with Dougie, being his right-hand man, General Disarray.
Together, we shall bring the world to its knees.
Together, Professor Chaos and General Disarray plot to take over the world, which ultimately fails time and time again. Despite their evil intentions, Dougie and Butters are able to relate to each other due to getting picked on repeatedly by their classmates, leading them to form a very genuine bond. Since Professor Chaos and General Disarray are never successful at any of their world domination attempts, we can't see too many downsides that would make this friendship come off as toxic. As stated earlier, Butters and Dougie in their debut episode were both seen getting along with Pip. There, Butters and Pip were very close as Pip teaches him and Dougie British games, which they really enjoy. Butters, Pip, and Dougie go as far as to dress like women and play Charlie's Angels together, leading Stan to manipulate them into finding a way out of the basement. We're putting this relationship here as the introduction of Butters inadvertently led to Pip's demise. After Trey Parker and Matt Stone realized Butters was a better character that filled a similar role as Pip, they slowly retired Pip as a character before killing him in episode 201. Now with Butters' healthy relationships out of the way, let's delve into into the gray area. These are characters who Butters can get along with or not, depending on the situation. We're starting off this section with Butters' very own international girlfriend, Charlotte, an exchange student from Canada. Charlotte and her family moved to South Park along with a slew of other Canadians when the president of Canada makes the country a worse place to live. Butters goes on a date with Charlotte after losing a bet with the other kids. Despite his initial reluctance, Charlotte and Butters form a genuine bond over time and come around to really liking each other. Charlotte and her family do move back to Canada, but she and Butters continue Skype calling each other, maintaining a long-distance relationship.
I'll Skype you when I'm home, my love.
This eventually ends when Charlotte joins the rest of the girls in breaking up with their boyfriends due to the actions of Skank Hunter 42, even though they began and ended on rocky terms. The middle part of Butters and Charlotte's relationship was actually quite sweet while it lasted, which is why we place it at the top of the gray area. Butters maintained a healthy relationship with Charlotte for a while, but certain friendships he's had flip back and forth from being healthy or toxic. Such is the case with Butters' relationship with Stan and Kyle. From the moment they met, Stan and Kyle had took a disliking to Butters, with Stan referring to him, Pip, and Dougie as Melvins. Stan and Kyle continue berating Butters for being a dork, which only intensifies when he becomes Kenny's replacement in Season 6. Once Kenny rejoins the main cast, Stan and Kyle ease up on Butters a bit, showing a lot of moments where they genuinely care about him. They usually stick up for Butters when other kids are picking on him, which does show their friendship has come a long way.
Don't pick on Butters. That's not cool.
Stan and Kyle still manipulate Butters on occasion, such as when they dress him up like a squirrel to meet Britney Spears, so we can't say this relationship is completely healthy as of yet. That said, it's in a lot better state than it was when it started. All of Butters' relationships in the gray area seem to start off on bad terms, and his relationship with Biggie Smalls is no exception. In the episode Hell on Earth 2006, Butters summons Biggie Smalls by saying his name in a mirror 3 times. Annoyed that he's missing Satan's Halloween party, Biggie threatens Butters at gunpoint to take him to Los Angeles to attend the celebration.
You summon my spirit. You're getting me all the way to the party.
Butters does so, but Biggie Smalls is summoned back to South Park when the other kids and Randy try the same trick Butters did. This infuriates Biggie even more, but Butters keeps his promise by summoning the deceased rapper through a mirror once he reaches Satan's party. Biggie then invites Butters to the party to show his appreciation. The two do get along in the end, but we can't overlook the rapper holding him at gunpoint and forcing him to travel to Los Angeles. And that wraps up the gray area. So let's get into what makes Butters go to sleep to the sound of his own screams. These relationships are the toxic. We're starting off this section by talking about Butters' relationship with Lisa Berger. This shy student had a crush on Butters and asked him out, only for Butters to politely reject her for being unattractive. Butters later reveals to Wendy that this is due to preferring celebrities like Kim Kardashian, who use Photoshop to present themselves as skinny. Lisa then uses Photoshop to do the same, causing Butters to regain interest. Alas, it was too late as Lisa began dating Clyde, who also previously mocked her for being fat. This is one case where Butters is portrayed as extremely insensitive and shallow, but to be fair, so was everyone else in the school aside from Wendy. Regardless, we can't say anything healthy came out of Butters and Lisa's interactions, which is why it lands here. And as bad as that was, Butters has had even worse romantic interests, such as his infatuation with Lexus, a waitress at Raisins. Lexus is very flirtatious towards every boy who enters the restaurant in order to get tips and presents. Butters mistakes this as genuine interest and believes he's in a relationship with Lexus. After she manipulates Butters out of tons of money, he takes his parents to meet her. This causes Lexus to unceremoniously reject Butters, revealing her true intentions all along. If you asked her, she probably wouldn't even realize she would be on this list because Butters was that insignificant to her. The way she manipulated Butters was indeed terrible, but it's basically second nature to her due to her occupation. If there is something positive that came out of this, it was that Butters learns a beautiful lesson about the importance of sadness in his life, so at least there is a silver lining. As messed up as Butters' romantic life is, his actual friendships are even worse. Hence why his relationship with Eric Cartman is up next. Cartman, much like Stan and Kyle, initially hated Butters, viewing him as an annoying nuisance. However, while Butters' friendship with Stan and Kyle has improved a lot over time, his relationship with Cartman has arguably gotten way worse. Instead of getting irritated with Butters, Cartman now sees him as someone he can manipulate due to Butters' overly overly trusting nature.
You're gonna help me freeze myself.
This is something Cartman has done time and time again, either for personal gain or his own amusement. Cartman and Butters are certainly friends on some level, but this is one of the unhealthiest friendships that's ever been portrayed on television. And the fact that this relationship doesn't even make the bottom 3 tells us how messed up Butters' life really is. Cartman certainly puts Butters through a lot, but abuse is usually much more traumatizing when it runs in the family. Thus, Butters' relationship with Grandma Stotch takes home the bronze medal of toxic. On the surface, Butters' grandma is very sweet and innocuous, but this completely changes when the two of them are alone. In private, Grandma Stotch physically and mentally tortures Butters by slapping him in the face, threatening to kill him, and sticking a fork into his leg. She essentially takes on the role of a typical school bully, except being an old woman picking on such a young boy makes the behavior even more reprehensible. Butters continually looks for ways to cope, but he eventually comes to the conclusion that she's a bitter old woman who will die miserable while he goes on to live a happy, healthy life, in spite of her abuse. The way Grandma Stotch treats Butters is really abhorrent, and the fact it makes the normally sweet kid take comfort in the idea of her death is more than enough to land in the bottom 3 most toxic relationships. On that note, Bud Stotch is getting the silver medal of toxic. A pretty obscure character, Bud appears in the fan-favorite episode Awesemo, when Butters and Cartman travel to California to visit Bud and his wife Nellie. Through this appearance, Bud seems like a pretty well-adjusted individual, acting friendly and taking Butters and Cartman on a sightseeing tour around LA. Especially by the standards of someone in Butters' family, Bud appears to be quite normal, but his darker side is hinted at in the season 10 episode, The Return of Chef, when Chef is outed for making perverted remarks towards children. A cop talks to the class to determine if and how he may have touched them using a doll. None of the kids come forward about Chef, but Butters recalls that his Uncle Bud did that to him once.
My Uncle Bud did that to me once.
That said, the gold medal for toxic relationship is going to a double ranking of his parents, Steven and Linda Stotch. We're willing to bet a lot of you saw this coming, but could you really say otherwise? Linda and Steven have been frequently portrayed as two of the worst parents in South Park, and we can't think of anyone, not even Cartman, who has tormented Butters as frequently as they have. Not only do they ground Butters for practically anything, whether it's his fault or not, Linda and Steven have gone further to do some really horrible things, including physically assaulting Butters, sending him to gay conversion therapy camp, and yes, even attempting to drown him in a river and cover up the crime. It's heavily implied that Steven and Linda are responsible for most of the trauma Butters experiences in life.
It'll have to be $250 million cash up front.
In the Imagination Land trilogy, Butters is tasked with imagining what he thinks is the scariest thing in the world, which turns out to be his own father yelling at him. To be fair, they do have moments where they're portrayed as more level-headed, such as when they tell Butters that Lexus was using him for money and gifts. Still, those very brief moments are hardly enough to redeem the damage they've caused over the years, which is why they easily nabbed the gold medal of toxic.